Hi, I'm Charmaine James, and I'm talking with Dr. Lewis about, when your horse goes off feed and what does that mean?
Well, it can mean a lot of things, but when a horse doesn't eat, you need to start looking and see why. Horse could be developing colic, for example, is one possibility. Keep a thermometer with you. Digital thermometers you can buy at any drugstore. They're durable. They'll last a long time. Horses' normal temperature is roughly 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Anything over 1 to 1.5 degrees above that is abnormal. It means something. They could be developing a respiratory infection, for example. Another thing you need to look for horses off feed, not eating, get out and get the horse and move them around. Make sure they don't hurt themselves. Sometimes a horse gets sore and stiff and something's hurt and they don't want to eat because they're hurt. Get them out and move them around. Evaluate that. Dental disease, if you're not taking care of horses' teeth, sometimes that creeps up on you and they start getting ulcerations in their gums from sharp teeth, and they get to where they stop eating well. Or you could have a tooth abscess. There's a myriad of things it could be, but the most common things would be a horse is brewing an infection like a respiratory infection or a GI upset, gastrointestinal upset, either colic or some other gastrointestinal malady. Always check temperature on them. Check gum color on those horses. Lift their gums, it should be good and pink. Make sure the horse has been drinking well. It bothers me even more if they're not only not eating but not drinking. That's important. Those horses will dry out on you. I always tell people, they ask me, how do I know if my horse is dehydrated? They look at gums and stuff and they say, well, my horse's gums are pink. The old skin tint test is the best one. You just grab the skin on the side of their neck and pinch it. If it stays tinted up, you got a horse that's probably a little dried out. Normal skin, you pinch it up and it goes right back flat.
And their eye even looks a little bit dull too.
A little dull,
yeah.
That's correct. And so pay attention how much those horses are drinking. You'd be surprised, people that I have come in here that don't really know how much the horses drank in the last 48 hours or 24 hours, yet they're dried out. And all those horses need is fluids, either orally if they'll drink it. If they won't, got to get somebody to administer them intravenously.
Right.
But that's just some thoughts.
Scamper was the horse that hated the water in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And so we would take bottled water to him. But I know too that he wouldn't eat as good if he wasn't drinking his water. If he didn't like his water as good, then he didn't eat his feed as good. So having the water, having him drink is really important.
Important. Yeah. Horses need to drink, and some horses don't drink real well on the road, and you have to coax them into doing it. I know a lot of people top dress their grain with a little light salt or something to encourage a horse to drink more. Light salt, just a mix of potassium chloride and sodium chloride. Some horses that's effective on, some it doesn't. Some of them don't like it and won't eat their grain because it's on there. You just have to muck around with those things. But know what your horse normally drinks and make sure they're drinking that on the road. If they don't, sometimes you have to, as horses get off feed or something, it's important to stop someone and get somebody to run some fluids to them.
Right.
Get them.
One of the things I did was just when you get to town where there's a lot of chlorine in the water and it tastes bad, I had a filter just to keep my horses drinking good. That I just feel like that's just one of the most important things you can do to keeping them healthy down the road.
It's a funny thing. A horse would rather go drink out of an old nasty tank out there.
Yeah, why is that?
Well, it's just what you said. They're not used to city water, chlorinated
right.
water.
Right.
Some horses are finicky about that, believe it or not. But you know your horse and their habits when they're home, and try to keep their eating and drinking habits as close to the same when you're on the road. And you just have to do what you can to encourage them to drink. Right,
and as far as trailing them, I found that once you fed them in the trailer, if you can stop and water them about 30 minutes after they have eaten, that's usually when they're going to drink the best time. But I know I've gone, halfway across the country and they won't drink any water in the trailer and you're fretting the whole time, but usually that night then they'll tank up on water in the stall that night.
Right, and a horse can go a good while without water, believe it or not, and it doesn't hurt them as long as they catch up.
Right.
Just like you said.
Okay, thanks, Doc.
Sure.